join me in thanking all of our speakers. I thought this was a terrific day. Just a note to you all, the photographer is going to take a picture of all of you out by the piano with the talisman roses as a memory of the day. I have the task of trying to sort of draw some conclusions out of this disparate set of talks. And so you can agree or disagree with the themes I've come up with. But so I think probably the strongest message I heard was, and Ada Sue used these words, that this is a school of nursing where research has always been about research for practice. And it's a movement that began at Yale in the 1950s, and I think across this group of YSN alums, we see faculty and clinicians who've developed strong programs of research, have built on one piece of research to another, and that their findings get turned back not only into new studies, but also into theory development. So I think that's a wonderful legacy of the people who came before us. The other thing, I have to say that in retrospect, it looks like we carefully picked our speakers to represent NINR's strategic plan, areas of emphasis. So we had a talk on health promotion, and this is my divvying them up, but Lois Sadler's work in particular is health promotion, disease prevention, symptom science, which is Tish's work, end-of-life care, Marie's work, self-management, Bernie Coleman's, because understanding the nature of these biological relationships help us develop models to help people self-manage after something like a heart transplant. And then the whole notion of how do you nurse the system for better patient outcomes in Marge's work. I think messages I heard are from every one of these people is a career-long commitment to solving clinical problems, like clinical issues that they faced in practice, in terms of the health of high-risk mothers, solving racial and ethnic disparities in health outcomes and health care, and improving the lives of people with cancer and complications from those diseases, as well as Marge's long-term interest in how do we use this technology in a useful and positive way. I think we're starting to see in these presentations where the science is going. Community engaged research, community-based participatory research is taking on increased prominence in healthcare research right now, especially with the availability of funds from the Patient-Centered Outcome Research Institute, or PCORI, that requires that as a part of any grant that they provide. We're starting to see moving from traditional randomized clinical trials to sustainability and uptake of interventions into care in different ways. And I think you get a sense of the fact that this is a team. I mean, nobody could have ended their talk better than Marge, for the notion that this is a team effort. Almost everybody here had multidisciplinary teams that have worked together to advance the science, but the application is to solving clinical problems that are important to nursing. Another theme I heard is early intervention to prevent problems. And that's that piece of, I sat in on some of those conversations with Pat Grady about what should we call this place. And there were a number of people who advocated for the National Institute of Health Promotion and Disease Prevention, but then everybody said the CDC would get mad. So I think some of this has to do with, is it ultimately going to be, something like that? I think that we're also seeing increasingly sophisticated research design, designs that more clearly replicate real clinical care as opposed to the traditional idealized randomized clinical trial that controls every little nuance of variance, that is that much more difficult to translate to the real world. A key element here is moving toward policy. I'm sorry that Sally Cohen couldn't be with us. She had personal things happen in her life that required her to stay out in New Mexico. But I think we started to see not only this translation to clinical care, but translation to health policy, and what that means not only for our profession, but for the health of the public whose job it is for us to take care of. And then lastly, but not least, one of the things that I loved about today is every single one of our presenters had a sense of humor. And I think those of us who do research know that your research teams are important, but if you can't laugh when you get in the middle of these difficult problems, it's that much harder. And so for the young, developing, scientists and scholars in the group, remember that. This is not work that is drudgery. It's only drudgery if you let it be drudgery. It's not drudgery because we're solving clinical problems about which we have passion, and the result is not for us, it's for changing the outcomes for the people we care for. So now it is my pleasure to invite you to join us at the traditional reception that follows the Bellos lecture. It is a descendant of an annual tea given by YSN, excuse me, the Wisser tea. Those of us who were master's students in the 70s and early 80s remember these teas as not having tea but having sherry. We've come a long way, baby, since those times. The background on Eleanor Wisser, who passed away while she was still a student, is lovely. Effie Taylor, who was dean at the time, wrote, Eleanor Wisser was admitted to the School of Nursing with a congenital cardiac condition. She was advised against attempting the course, but felt so keenly that it was something she had always wanted to do that she wished under any circumstances to be allowed to remain. Since this was her very earnest wish, we acceded to her request. Miss Wisser was very happy while she was with us, and at no time regretted the decision she made. We feel that her passing, which occurred in her sleep, was what she would have wished. Miss Wisser died on December 20th, 1937. Miss Wisser's will specified that every year at the tea, 24 talisman roses be provided from the income from the endowment. You will find them over in the hub on the piano in that corner of the hub. I invite you to join me there. Celebrate with us the contributions of many, many Yale nurses to our discipline and to the science of patient care. Thank you for being with us. And even if you don't want to see